Well, hello, hello. This is Karin Zoe Lee, and you're listening to Lotus Moon Productions. Welcome to the Wrestling Rants Project. Whatever the promotion, we're here to learn and discuss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 45 minutes of wrestling discussion with your hosts, Shugo and James.
Welcome back to the prediction side of LMP Wrestling. We are dedicated, focused, and strictly going to talk about AEW Revolution this Sunday. There is 9 matches on the card. Who knows? They might add another one on the pre-show. But as of now, we have 9 matches, 1 for the buy-in, and 8 on the main card, and there's plenty to go through. So I have 2 people to talk about Revolution with me today. So James, as usual. Hello, James.
Hello.
And then I have my partner in crime, Arty. How's it going?
Not too bad.
And how's it going for you, James?
It's going great. I've had my COVID vaccination today. I'm going to mention that word. So there we go.
Big shot James and his vaccine.
Yeah. The UK's finally getting it right for once.
And that we can make plenty of podcasts just about that alone. All right. So when it comes to AEW Revolution predictions, we're going to start with the buy-in and work our way up to the championship matches. So they announced that it's going to be Riho and Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Rebel, not Reba, even though they keep changing it from Reba, not Rebel, which is hilarious. But either way, regardless, we'll start with James. Who do you got?
I'm a bit confused how this match started. So I might need a little bit of context. I'm assuming it's something from the women's knockout tournament, and Britt Baker possibly cost Thunder Rosa the match against Nyla Rose.
There wasn't much cost. No, I think it's just leftovers of the competition. I mean, New Japan does this a lot as well.
Yeah, it's fine. It's there's backstory anyway with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. So yeah, I'm going to go for probably Britt Baker winning this. Thunder Rosa can swallow this. Riho can swallow this. It's pre-show. So yeah, I'm going to say Britt and Reva or Rebel.
What about you, Arty?
I'm going to have to agree. Pretty much the same reasons, but also I think Britt Baker needs the push.
Well, I think y'all are fools because Riho and Thunder Rosa is going to win. So at least we have a little bit of controversy going on here now. It's 2-on-1.
There we go. Getting the rubber the green straight away. I like you, Arty.
I like you too.
Well, I mean, with Britt Baker and Rebel or Reba, whatever you want to call her, I think the star power there with Riho and Thunder Rosa is there. I mean, Rebel and whatever, we'll just bounce back and forth. I'm going to call her Rebel and then I'm going to call her Reba. So Rebel is still up and coming. She's still getting she's getting cemented into her character. I mean, a wrestling character, getting more matches. And Riho and Thunder Rosa just seem like this crazy tag team. So, I think I'm not sure what'll happen on the buy-in, but I don't think Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are finished. I think this is going to continue.
Yes, most likely.
I most certainly think there's going to be shenanigans on the part of Britt Baker and Rebel. It's just classic heel shenanigans.
All right, well, let's dive into the main show then with Revolution, and we'll start off with the tag team match between Miro and Kip Sabian versus the Best Friends. Is it Chucky T and Orange Cassidy? Who wants to start?
I'll go first. I don't know which way to go with this one, because classically you go, well, Miro needs the win, but Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor are the Best Friends. They're over. Well, they were over. I don't know how this program's really helped them stay over. I feel like they've gone back a little bit. So I think, the way Miro looked on his promo last night, he looked immense. So I think Miro just destroys Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor with a little help from Kip Sabian, but it's mainly going to be Miro's match. So I'm going to go for Miro and Kip Sabian.
What about you, Artie?
I foresee something similar, but I think the win is going to go to the best friends because Miro is going to just go absolutely crazy on Chuck and get disqualified.
That's a good, that's a good shout. Possibly could happen. I mean, Miro's insane. He could go crazy. He could get himself disqualified, and then both teams would look strong. I'm going to be going with Miro and Kip Sabian, so I'm going with James this time. I love it. All three of us are going in different directions. I'm very similar with what James said about Miro and Kip Sabian. I do feel the best friends have gone back a little bit with the momentum they had before, especially Orange Cassidy with coming off of Chris Jericho. But would I love to see a solo feud for a month between Miro and Orange Cassidy? I think so. Did we get that already? I don't think we did. I think it was just the best friends. Yeah. So I think I would love to see Miro versus Orange Cassidy. I think those two would just in a singles match would showcase Miro in the best of ways, and we already know what Orange Cassidy is capable of. So maybe that will come from this, or this will just be the end of the feud. But my point here is with Miro and Kip Sabian.
There we go. I agree with that. I like you, Cody.
Now you're dead to James.
I thought we had something.
I'm very fickle.
As Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, would say, we're on a friendship timeout. All right, now this next match, it's the number one contender match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. It's Casino Tag Team Royale. And there's a lot of names, and apparently there's a couple of names that are going to be announced as well. There's a TBA at the end of this. So far, I'm going to give you guys 3 picks.
Oh.
Doesn't matter what order you put them in right now. Just pick 3 picks on who you think might get a number one contender to face whomever wins between Chris Jericho and MJF and the Young Bucks at a later date. So, the names that are currently listed are Bear Country, Chaos Project, Death Triangle, Matt and Mike Seidel, Private Party, Santana and Ortiz, SoCal Uncensored, The Butcher and the Blade, The Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, The Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, The Natural Nightmares, Top Flight, and the Varsity Blondes and to be announced. So there's already a huge amount of tag teams in this match. So, I mean, James, I'll give it to you first. Who do you think? Get 3 names off that list, and I can read that list to you again if you need it.
No, I've got it in front of me. I've come prepared, professional style. So, based on the sudden showcase of what they can do, Pac and Rey Fénix looked spectacular last night on Dynamite. For me, it's Death Triangle. Rey Fénix needs to have a world title on him. And I feel the tags are a great way. It's interesting that it's with Pac, but to be honest, they worked brilliantly together. So I'm going Death Triangle as my number 1 pick. Then I would say it's tricky because you've got SoCal Uncensored and you've got Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels said the next time they lose, they're over. So does that include this match?
I don't think it includes this match. I think it's an actual tag team match.
So I would still put them in there. It would be an interesting way for them to implode. It just depends on the way the tag team match goes in the main card. So I would say SoCal Uncensored second, and then because it would just be a great dynamic of Proud and Powerful winning this and seeing how the outcome for the Inner Circle reacts further. So Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz, an underrated team, but they showed it a few weeks ago how good they are. Let's have them making their way back up those rankings and having a shot at the titles.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to say SoCal Uncensored to be added to that list as well because whoever wins the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho MJF match later on, if SoCal does face them, then I don't think they're going to win the championships. I mean, they could be a 2-time AEW World Champion. I mean, they could be the ones that take it off whomever wins the match. But their next official tag team loss, they're going to be broken up. So are they going to break them up this soon? I don't think so. But before I lay my 3 picks down, who do you got already?
I have to agree with Death Triangle as my number 1 pick. If for no other reason than at the end of the show last night, they were the only ones to come out, even though they had like 3 seconds of their theme music. They were the only ones of that group to come out with their theme music. My second pick would probably be Reynolds and Silver, just because they are over right now. Maybe I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Top Flight, just because they're really hot and they're I know they're really new as well to AEW, but they're so good.
Yeah, they're incredibly talented, and the Death Triangle shout out from the both of you was great as well. I think it's very interesting that because they're going under the Death Triangle name, and that does include Penta, but you think Penta would be in the tag team match, like Lucha Brothers would be in this match, and Pac would be in the ladder match later on in the evening, right? It's really interesting on how they have that, because Pac would be an excellent TNT champion. Not to say that Penta El Zero wouldn't be, but it kind of fits Pac more to have that solo TNT championship title than to have a tag team title. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
He is a bastard. So.
Yeah, he is. All right, Death Triangle is definitely one of my picks for sure. One of my other picks would probably be Private Party, because of what's going on with Matt Hardy right now. I mean, he's been trying to destroy the Dark Order and push Private Party and make them seem like the best people. So they already had a number 1 contender shot for the Impact World titles. So why not give them a number 1 contender shot against whomever wins the match after tonight, after that tag match? So we have Death Triangle, Private Party, and then, I mean, Top Flight's a good shout with everything that's going on, but they just kind of got there recently. So I'd say it depends too. I mean, AEW is pretty good. That it's not always face versus face, heel versus heel. You know, not everything is that black and white within AEW. So, I mean, if Chris Jericho and MJF do win against the Young Bucks, and spoiler alert, I do not think they will, the Butcher and the Blade could then go against the Young Bucks, which would be a good dynamic. So, I mean, despite the heat, or not the heat, the how hot Alex Reynolds and John Silver are, I don't think they're going to win it. So I guess my 3 picks are Death Triangle, Private Party, and the Butcher and the Blade.
Interesting. I just had a thought about the TBA. I suspect Hybrid 2.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Just to help out Private Party. So Matt Hardy has got two horses in that race. I'm surprised they haven't been announced, looking at the extensive list on this site. So yes,
I was surprised about that too. Hybrid 2 is one of those teams where I've fallen in love with them since the get-go, since AEW started airing pay-per-views, before Dynamite even started, and they are definitely future World Tag Team Champions. Whether they take it from the Young Bucks, whether they take it from Chris Jericho or in MJF, or take it from somebody else in the future, they are future World Tag Team Champions. Both of them can wrestle their asses off. And the Hybrid 2 definitely needs to get gold at some point. All right, moving up the card, we have the big money match. Speaking of Matt Hardy, where the first quarter earnings go to one of them?
Yeah, whoever wins gets the first quarter earnings of the other person for everything they make, and they made mention of their figurines and all that other stuff, merch.
Something that's absolutely petty and means absolutely nothing to any fan, but is still entertaining nonetheless. So, yeah, well, James, we'll start with you. Matt Hardy versus Adam Page. Who do you got?
I mean, they could be fighting over a shampoo commercial.
Yeah, imagine. Adam Page has got the urge.
So, I'm going to go with a controversial pick. I'm going to go for Matt Hardy. I have a feeling this Revolution, our babyfaces are going to get a kicking. So it's going to impact Adam Page more losing this match. He's going to go further down that dark alley that he is currently climbing himself out of. He's on a winning streak. Matt Hardy is the older guy. You know, he shouldn't win, but that's the reason why I think he will. I don't think we're going to get what we want.
When it comes to the big money match, I mean, Matt Hardy could just pay somebody else to somehow, stop Adam Page from winning. And I like this Ted DiBiase character that's going on here, the $1 Million Man. He's coming out paying people off. Everybody's got a price. I'm digging this big money Matt Hardy character again now. But I do think Adam Page will win this. You make a lot of good points there, James, about Matt Hardy winning. But I think this is the start of Adam Page's redemption. With the Dark Order and everything, I think there's something here. I mean, we could have even something silly of -1 coming out and kicking Matt Hardy in the balls behind the referee's back.
Oh, that'd be priceless.
That would be priceless. It'd be perfect. It'd be adorable. And, Adam Page gets the win. So, I mean, I don't know how it's going to go down. But so we have James and Matt Hardy. I got Adam Page. Who do you have, Arty?
I'm going to go with Adam Page as well. I'm just a big fan, and he's just such a good wrestler. And I know Matt Hardy is a very good wrestler as well. But I just think the way the storyline's going and how slick Adam Page was with switching out that contract to get this match and all that other shenanigans and stuff. And I'm confident that the Dark Order will get involved in some way because Hardy will have his little crew involved as well in some way. And I think Adam Page is has got this one in the bag.
Some interesting predictions. Now, before we go any further up the card, we're going to stop here and discuss what happened on AEW Dynamite last night because it's going to be announced on Revolution. It is the Big Show. It is AKA Paul White or Paul White AKA the Big Show. There's no more BS when it comes to Paul White, and he is going to make an announcement. He has signed somebody. Tony Khan has signed somebody that is Hall of Fame worthy. Now, this has sent the internet into just nuts land. The names that have been coming out, and everybody's been checking who's on the Hall of Fame list on WWE, who's on the Hall of Fame list. This person is not on the Hall of Fame. And the first person I thought of last night was Kurt Angle, but Kurt Angle, I believe, is in the Hall of Fame. Correct me, right?
Yes, I believe he is. He Hall of Fame, and then Baron Corbin retired him.
Right. That's what happened, right. He drank a bunch of milk, too. Yeah, so now there's a couple of females and there's a few males, and I could be completely wrong. I'd love to hear any ideas that you think as well, James. But rumors with Chris Jericho dropping Dwayne Johnson last night, that was, I mean, I know it's so far-fetched. It's probably it's worse than CM Punk. Like, saying that Dwayne Johnson or John Cena, for example, is going to show up in AEW is just like it's just it's just like a pig when pigs fly. Like, it's just never going to happen. But name dropping Dwayne Johnson because Chris Jericho couldn't say The Rock because that's owned by WWE. But if Dwayne Johnson comes into AEW Revolution, I'm straight up, excuse my language, I'm going to shit. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think CM Punk is going to happen. But other names that I've heard are Brock Lesnar, because he is a free agent, and, whoever pays him the most, and AEW is quite wealthy as well, not just Vince McMahon. And, I heard jokes about this online about The Undertaker, Mark Calloway joining AEW, and as he just retired in WWE. And I think if Mark Calloway joined AEW, I think Vince would have a heart attack. That would be it. He'd just have an aneurysm. He'd just eat something. He wouldn't be able to function anymore. He'd be like Linda in a wheelchair back in the late 90s. Like Shane drugging him all the time, saying, "It's okay, Vince. It's okay, Dad." And I've heard of Mark Henry. Mark Henry's been coming out on social media lately saying that he has one more match in the next 4 or 5, 6 months. And then 2 other names that I heard are Ronda Rousey and AJ Lee. So I will pass that on to you, James. What do you think? What names have you heard, and what do you think about this big announcement, potential Hall of Famer or worthy Hall of Famer?
So I've not heard many names because I've been off the internet trying to avoid spoilers for this episode from last night. So when the Big Show announced that this person is Hall of Fame worthy, is a Hall of Fame worthy talent, my immediate thought was it was Sean Waltman, aka the 1-2-3 Kid, X-Pac.
X-Pac, yeah.
Because he has been famously snubbed for a single entry into the WWE Hall of Fame. But I feel this person has to be active. And I feel that they will be going into the ladder match because there's a TBA in the ladder match. Now, so Cody, last week you said the next big signing from WWE by AEW is the person that's interacting with Randy Orton. So, who was interacting with Randy Orton this Monday night?
Oh, this Monday night? Oh no, I can't remember. I barely pay attention to Raw. It's there. I just kind of pretend it's not.
Well, based on your theory, it's Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is going to come out. She's going to spill out black goo all over the place, and she's going to do that.
It ain't going to be Alexa Bliss.
So,
Alexa Bliss is tied in there.
But more serious point, I do think it's somebody who is active. I do have a feeling they will have a chance straight away at the TNT title in the ladder match. So honestly, it could be anybody. I feel it's male. I'd love it to be AJ Lee, but I don't think it is. Honestly, it could be anyone. I hope it's not Brock Lesnar. I don't feel Brock Lesnar fits into AEW's model effectively.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it could be anybody. And you know what? AEW track record, when they announce someone big, it's going to be someone pretty damn cool. So we've had Matt Sydal, we've had Brian Cage. Both have made a terrific impact, sometimes straight on their face, when they've entered. So it's going to be someone great. So I can't wait.
Yeah, well, one thing I do want to shut up with that ladder match before we get there and discuss it is that the last person that's TBA on that ladder match will be announced by Tony Khan before Revolution.
Oh, okay, so it's not the... Yeah, right. Okay, so there goes my theory. Ignore the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, so Tony Khan did say that he would announce it. So I just quickly looked at Twitter to see if he had announced it yet. So I imagine they're either going to announce it on the pre-show of Revolution or maybe on Saturday, the day before. But I'm wondering who it's going to be. It'll be interesting to see because we already have a really good lineup of a ladder match. I mean, given everything that happened last night with Jade Cargill pinning Red Velvet and Cody losing, but then Cody kind of putting Shaq to that crazy table, and then Shaq disappearing. I thought the Fiend got appeared on AEW. I was like, what the hell did Shaq go? But Shaq gave quite a performance. I wasn't looking forward to it, but hell, I was locked in. I really enjoyed that, but
it was an amazing match considering how low our expectations were.
Yeah, and maybe that's why it was so amazing, because my expectations were so low because I just didn't want to see Shaq on AEW. But hey, they made it work. They made it work, and yeah, definitely applause for them. But I've heard also Victoria, but I don't know. I really don't know. I've heard Christian. I know Christian came out at the Royal Rumble, but I'm not sure if he signed with WWE or not. Because Christian is definitely a potential Hall of Famer with everything he's done in the business in WWE. It could be someone outside of WWE. It could be somebody who just left New Japan. It could be someone who just left Impact. So, it'd be interesting to see who this person is, and Paul White said it's not who you think it is. So, I mean, that leaves it open though, because everybody has an opinion. So he's being a cheeky little boy, or a big boy, I guess in this case.
He's a very big boy.
But it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see who this person is. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's going to be The Rock. Oh, it's going to be Brock Lesnar. Oh, it's going to be CM Punk. Oh, it's going to be The Undertaker. And then just be like, I don't know who this person is. Right? I'm just going to let it slide. But it's interesting to discuss. Any ideas from you, Arty?
There's so many names been tossed out, and it's just it could literally be almost anybody. There's such a long list of what many people would consider to be Hall of Fame worthy wrestlers that just haven't been inducted in one Hall of Fame or another, because he didn't specifically say that it was WWE Hall of Fame worthy either. So
well, he couldn't.
Well, yeah. but other wrestling promotions have Hall of Fames, and what if it's someone from New Japan?
Yeah, it could be. It very well be. The other thing is, too, I mean, like I said, Chris Jericho dropped Dwayne Johnson's name. Like, I know he was making a point with who he previously tag teamed with, but that was really interesting. And for people who checked Dwayne's Instagram, now this is a stretch. This is a really, really stretch fantasy booking thing. But
when you're checking Instagram for your scoop, it's a stretch. But go on.
Yeah. So a lot of people in AEW, I haven't seen this really much in WWE, but a lot of people over in AEW are really fond of the cupping massage. I've had it done many times. I felt it's been very beneficial. Kenny Omega gets it done a lot. Other members of the AEW roster get it done a lot. And lo and behold, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got his first ever cupping massage just last week.
Oh, there's the scoop.
So I was like, that's really interesting. Why would the first time ever that he gets that? Who talked him into that one? I mean, of course, anybody could have talked him into it. He could have had a really health friend. He could have a friend that's into it. Anything could have happened. Again, it's a stretch. But I was like, Chris Jericho dropping Dwayne Johnson's name. Big Hall of Fame worthy. And The Rock is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. So I think if Dwayne entered AEW era, I think Vince would shit himself. I don't know. I don't know what Vince would think, but it would kill that Rock versus Roman Reigns storyline that everybody's been kind of wanting to in the future. So I don't know. I truly don't know what's going to happen here. But yeah, so we have all this speculation with what Paul White's announcement's going to be come Revolution, which made Revolution even more excited from what a stacked card it is. So let's move on to the next match, which is the number one contender ladder match for the TNT Championship. And we have Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer versus Max Caster versus Penta El Zero Miedo versus Scorpio Sky versus TBA, who Tony Khan will be announcing before the pay-per-view. So if you have that to-be-announced person, that mystery person to win, feel free to shout them out. But I'm going to give you guys two guesses in no particular order on who's going to win this match. So who do you got first, James?
I'm really stuck with this because Scorpio Sky was doing color commentary last night, and he did sound a little bit odd. They seem to have turned him heel, and he didn't seem too confident with that, guys. He seemed to be trying too hard. So Scorpio Sky would be a great way to get him back on our screens because he's been gone too long. So I would have him in there. I don't think Cody will win it. I think he can use the fact that he's just been through a table with Shaq as a reason for losing that, so that's fine. Penta is fantastic. I would love to see Penta against Darby Allen. I think Penta would absolutely have his way with Darby in all the best ways. But then Lance Archer, I think Lance Archer's work right now deserves recognition. So I am really stuck between the two guys that we haven't seen for a while and Lance Archer. So I'm not going to try and predict the person that we haven't heard of yet, because it could be anyone. So I'm going to go for Penta, El Zero Miro, and Lance Archer.
All right. What about you, Arty?
I think my secondary pick is going to be Scorpio Sky, just because of his actions, I guess, on last night's Dynamite. But my first pick, I want to say Penta, just because he is an absolute monster, and that match between him and Darby would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it would be a really good match between Penta and Darby. They would clash very, very well. Penta would be dishing out all these crazy moves, and Darby would just keep getting up. So it would be really interesting to see how that goes. As for my two picks, I think the mystery opponent, whomever it is, probably will get it. I don't know who it is. It could be anybody, but I think they're in the lineup of winning this match. But at the same time, I know it's not going to be Cody Rhodes. I feel Shaq's going to come in and screw that up because he just disappeared from the ambulance. And by the way, within kayfabe, Shaq would have had to gone through that small ass ambulance little hallway front door to get out of that ambulance. But to be fair, the paramedic didn't even know where he went. He opened the door. Tony Schiavone opens the door, and the paramedic was like, I don't know where he went. So apparently Shaq can teleport now. So he's magic.
Oh man, he's Kazam.
He's Kazam.
They do have a zombie on their roster, so you know.
Yeah, Abaddon. Yeah, it's true. So I mean, I don't. But regardless if Shaq interferes or not and costs Cody, I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to win. He's had his role with the TNT championship already, and I think he'll get there eventually again. But for now, I don't think it's his time. I don't think Max Caster is going to win. No dig on him or anything. He's a fantastic wrestler. I just don't think he's ready for it. But Lance Archer, definitely a good name to shout into there. And Penta is a good name to shout into there. But given how, again, Scorpio Sky acted last night and how they changed him heel, Scorpio Sky versus Darby Allen would be fantastic too. And if Scorpio Sky beat Darby Allen, I think he would make a great TNT champion. I think he's already gone for the TNT championship once against Cody. Was that correct?
Yes, he did. I want to say November time, but I can't be sure.
Yeah, he definitely did. So my pick is either the mystery guest or Scorpio Sky. Those are my two. All right, speaking of the TNT Championship, we'll move on into the street fight. Darby Allin and Sting. Can you believe it? 2021. Sting has come out of retirement. He's in a street fight with this maniac, Darby Allin. They are the hoodlums, as they call themselves. Versus Team Taz, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Now, there's a lot that could go on here. Now, Darby Allin and Sting versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, 2-on-2. But of course, you could get Hook involved, Taz could get involved, God knows else who could get involved. But at the same time, Darby Allin and Sting could have a third person to come in there and help them out. Street fight, anything goes. So my money, and I'll take this one first. I definitely believe that Darby Allin and Sting are going to win this match. It's not going to be like WWE where Sting finally has his debut match in WWE and he loses to Triple H. I truly think this is going to be Sting's first victory in AEW.
I definitely agree. I'm 100% believe that Darby Allin and Sting are going to win. I think that Team Taz is certainly going to give them a run for their money, and there's going to be some assistance from the rest of Team Taz at some point. But Darby Allin and Sting are definitely going to come out on top, in my opinion.
I initially was thinking Team Taz can't lose this because every single time they go big with Team Taz, they lose. They come short. We've seen it with the TNT Championship and bits and pieces like that. But Darby Allin is the one guy in this match that will go completely off the wall to win it. And it's a street fight. So I feel Darby Allin will win this for them. Sting will look amazing, like he has done since we saw him in action now for the past 2 to 3 weeks. So I think it's going to be an amazing match. It's going to be great setup for the main event. So I think Darby Allin is going to go big and win this for Darby Allin and Sting. And Team Taz will look fine. They'll be fine. Powerhouse Hobbs is there. Hook is there. Taz is there. They're going to be fine. Don't worry.
So we're all in agreement with Darby Allin and Sting winning?
I feel so.
All right. Now, the only thing I ask about this, the aftermath of this match, let's make that FTW championship mean something. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of coming it down to the ring and not getting recognition. I had a plan there with Cody could have taken it off of Brian Cage and then pissed Taz off even more. It was there. It was in front of me. I'm still salty about it from months ago. It could have happened. Let's make that FTW championship prestigious. Let's make it something worthy to talk about, because I want to have more singles competitions between Brian Cage and whomever, and then start transferring that belt to other people. All right. Now, before we move on to the 3 championship matches of the night, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Tully Blanchard, because by God, in the words of Jim Ross, 67 years old, and he killed it last night. I couldn't believe the stuff that was coming out of his 67-year-old body. I can't even move that well now, and I'm 31. So, I don't know if it's DDP yoga. I don't know what he was doing, but damn. FTR, Tully Blanchard versus Jurassic Express, and Scorpio Sky came back. Or not Scorpio Sky, Sean Spears. Sean Spears and Scorpio Sky had a feud together. But, Sean Spears could be added to that ladder match as well, by the way. That's a good shout for him. Sean Spears coming back. But see, the main thing about that, you have to admit, seeing Tully Blanchard in that form was absolutely amazing.
It was. 32 years since he last wrestled, and he looked great. He looked better than some younger stars that return to the ring. So yeah, he looked great.
Yeah, he was putting off some good moves on Jurassic Express, and just he didn't even miss a beat. Like it was I was really amazed by how well he could still wrestle.
And he has a pin over Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
Out of all people, nobody can take that away from him. And within AEW canon, Tully Blanchard has pinned Luchasaurus. So this feud is not finished. I figured they were going to continue on into Revolution with it. It could still be announced, but 9 matches, it's pretty stacked card as it is. You don't want to overload things. I think they'll continue on. If they're going to continue, it'll be on next week's Dynamite. But yeah, just wanted to shout out to Tully Blanchard, because damn, I'm so impressed by that. All right, moving on to the AEW Women's World Championship. We finally have a finalist from the women's tournament, and I watched it all. I watched on YouTube. It was fantastic. I learned some things about wrestlers that I didn't know about before, and that's the best thing about a tournament, is that you can learn about new wrestlers, you can fall in love with new wrestlers, you can look forward to new wrestlers, and Ryo Mizunami, yeah, I became a fan of within that competition. And her and Nyla Rose tore the house down last night, and she put on some great matches over the tournament, and I wanted it. I did not want to see Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. I just didn't want to see it. I wanted to see Ryo Mizunami, and personally, I don't know how this is going to go. Hikaru Shida hasn't had too many title defenses, but if Ryo Mizunami got signed for AEW, traveled all the way here from Japan, and given the pandemic that's going around the world and everything and how difficult it is to travel right now, I imagine they'll give the championship to Ryo. But if the pandemic wasn't a thing or a factor, I wouldn't know who to bet on in this match, because Hikaru Shida, again, hasn't defended it too much. I'd like to see her continue to defend that title, but Man, I'm stuck. I'm really, really stuck. What are your thoughts on it, James?
I agree. Rhea Mizunami is shown from last night's Dynamite that she deserves this opportunity. That guillotine leg drop that she performs it looks deadly, and it was sold as deadly by Nyla Rose. With Hikaru Shida, I really enjoy her as a wrestler. I find her very charismatic. I find her brilliant to get behind. However, it's getting on for, is it nearly 200 days that she's had that title? Over 200 days?
Yeah, it's roughly, I think, 180, something like that.
Yeah, so it's not been defended all that much. We've hardly seen her in the last month. I feel that says a lot. And maybe it is time. You get those points in a title reign where it's time to change the title. And I think Rio coming in, another women's champion called Rio.
This is Rio. This is not Riho.
No, yes. So I think that she should win it. As you say, she's come across from Japan. It seems like a huge commitment just to bring her across for one match. And I feel, it's time, unfortunately, for Hikaru Shida to drop the title. And it's a shame because she definitely deserves a better run, and I hope a better run comes later on. This women's division, from the start of the year to now, the women's division in AEW looks absolutely stacked. Now we've got Jade Cargill coming through. We've got Red Velvet, showed great last night on Dynamite. We've got those coming through. You've got the whole women's tournament as a whole, showing that they have got women in there now that they can use storylines and progress further. So I think we can then have Mizunami as the champion, and going forward it opens up the route for Britt Baker as the champion.
What do you think?
I definitely think Rio's going to win. Pretty much the same reasons. But just seeing her go in that tournament and how just powerful she was and charismatic, she'd make a great champion.
Yeah, she would. She would for sure. And I loved at the end of it how she punched Hikaru Shida, and then Hikaru Shida was like, "I'll punch you back." And they just kept punching each other, and they laughed it off. I love that. That was fantastic. That's sportsmanship right there. That was beautiful. I thought that was fantastic. And I mentioned the women's division getting better and better. We have some signees now from Japan because of the tournament. We've built up Riho more. We've built up Thunder Rosa, even though she's still part of NWA. We have Hikaru Shida. We have Nyla Rose. We have Rio Mizunami now. We have Abaddon. We have Ivelisse and Diamante, the team winners. So I'm part of me if I've forgotten a few, but it's you can start naming names off now. You can have a good collection of names on your hand where you're like, these 5 or these 10 are good wrestlers. Now let's just hope they get more time and more storylines behind them. All right, 2 matches left. We'll start off with the AEW World Tag Team Championships with the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and MJF. And I loved that segment last night with the whole asking questions. And oh my goodness, the first when it started, I was like, Eric Bischoff isn't there. And then lo and behold, Eric Bischoff comes out four people later. I died. I thought it was hilarious. And then when the Young Bucks cut that promo on Chris Jericho, and he said he was jerking the Kirkin at the Performance Center. Oh my God, I died. That was a burn. That was so good. Loved it. I do think the Young Bucks are going to retain. I think Sammy Guevara is going to interfere, unless this is all will work. And they keep saying, Sammy Guevara's dead to me, and then he'll come out and save Chris Jericho and MJF. That could happen as well. But or the Good Brothers. They could cost the Young Bucks, right? Goes either way here. But I really do feel the Young Bucks are going to hold on to these titles.
I think that the line about Nick wishes his hair was Vic Jackson Was an amazing line by MJF. I'm going the opposite way. I am going different. I am saying Chris Jericho and MJF with Wardlow win against the Young Bucks. I think that it progresses everything with the Inner Circle really well. You can have the Good Brothers kind of saying, "Oh, we got championships. What have you got? You've got nothing. You got beaten by not even a tag team." In Jericho and MJF. I think Jericho mentioning that he is a 7-time world champion in tag division is a great hook into it all.
Yep.
And I feel, as I say, Santana and Ortiz, if Santana and Ortiz win the Casino Battle Royale, and you've got MJF against Jericho versus Santana and Ortiz, that would be amazing. Honestly, my picks for the Battle Royale is, it doesn't matter who wins this match, because I don't think my picks would give it away. And they'd all have great matches, but I just feel Inner Circle, Jake Hager needs some championships to shout about. Give them 2 belts with the tag team titles.
What about you?
Yeah. I was originally going to say the Young Bucks were going to win, but I think it's going to be Chris Jericho and MJF, and the Good Brothers are going to cost them by, quote, trying to help and costing them the match. And then that's going to lead to the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers.
There's also one thing here that supports your guys' theory about Chris Jericho and MJF winning and the Young Bucks losing and the Good Brothers getting involved, is that 1 week after Revolution, are you guys aware that Impact has a pay-per-view?
No.
All right. Well, New Japan, do you know who Juice Robinson is?
I've heard his name, but I don't know who he is.
All right. Well, him and Finlay from New Japan are Finn Juice, and they are from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they are facing the Good Brothers at this pay-per-view next week for the Impact World Championships. And if the Good Brothers cost the Young Bucks will show up at Sacrifice next week and cost the Good Brothers the titles.
That's juicy.
Yeah, to further that feud. So that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world there too, because the Young Bucks are like, "Oh, we're champions, but then you cost us our titles, we're going to cost you your titles." And again, New Japan is working with Impact. Impact is working with AEW. AEW is working with New Japan. AEW is working with NWA. That whole Forbidden Door. Everybody's working with everybody. And the weirdest thing is Jon Moxley retained against Kenta. I didn't see that coming. So mentioning all the New Japan stuff, I didn't see that. He is still the US or the IWGP US champion. But favoritism always loses, but I will pick the Young Bucks regardless. But no matter what direction this match goes in, whether the Young Bucks lose because of everything we just discussed, and Chris Jericho and MJF win, I'm in it for the ride. I can't wait to see what happens. This is what I mean by a great card, when it's not only is it stacked by amazing matches, but most storylines, regardless of who wins, have a million different directions to go, and they're all great. And that's what I love about this company. All right, moving on to the final match. Something that we're going to have our hands over our faces. It's going to be like a train wreck. We just can't keep our eyes off of it. It's going to be insane. AEW World Championship, an exploding barbed wire death match. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley. James, who do you have and why?
So in preparation for this match, I watched their match at Full Gear, or the match that didn't happen. So I enjoyed it as much as I can enjoy those types of matches. They're not my thing. We discussed this last time out. I am still on the opinion Jon Moxley is going to die, and he will never be seen again, and that is it. But because he keeps saying what a way to go. So but then now you've said that he's retained the US title, makes me say, well, he could win this exploding barbed wire death match because it's his territory. Kenny Omega can go crazy and say, you beat me, but that wasn't a wrestling match. I won the wrestling match. So I still say Omega, because this character, this champion of champions, the teacher of children, the welder who is so tough he doesn't even need a welding mask. So I'm more torn on it than I expected to be. A week or so ago I said Omega 100%. Now I have doubt, and that's all you need in a wrestling match. You just need a little bit of doubt. So I'm going to go Omega, because I think Moxley having some time off and coming back in a blaze of glory, hopefully when crowds are back. Because that was something about the last match they had, the Lights Out match. I forgot how hot the crowd was in AEW. Mm-hmm. You're talking about November, December 2019.
Yeah.
So nobody knew what was coming in 2020, and it was amazing to see the crowd. So yeah, Moxley coming through the crowd again would be fantastic, a fantastic return. So yeah, Omega for me. It's going to be. I'm intrigued to see how this works, because the footage I've seen of the exploding death, barbed wire death matches are, this could look terrible, but it's AEW. Of course, it's not going to look terrible. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and when it comes to this match, that doubt that you talk about, now I believe Kenny Omega will retain because he wants to be the collector of titles. And with my prediction, with I guess other people's predictions now too, I do feel the end result's going to be him and Kota Ibushi for that IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But in order for me to get there, we got to have Kenny Omega retain. And I think after he's done with Jon Moxley, the next couple of months, he's going to go over to Impact and he's going to get that championship. We'll see what happens here. He's going to be the Thanos of wrestling. He's going to become God. Like Kota Ibushi said, he has to become God. He has to get the IWGP Heavyweight Championship to become God. Well, Kenny Omega is now praising he is the God of wrestling. That's what Don Callis keeps calling himself. So lots of history there. And now that the Forbidden Door is open and New Japan is working with AEW, the possibilities are absolutely endless. But the doubt that you mentioned is, I think when people are watching this match, they're going to go, oh my God, Jon Moxley's about to win. Oh my God, Kenny Omega's about to win. Oh my God, Jon Moxley's about to win. Like, people are going to be at the edge of their seats and nobody's going to know who's going to win this match. But I am going on long-term booking here, and I do think Kenny Omega will retain. What about you, Arty?
It's the same thing as I'm torn about who I think is going to win, strictly because of the type of match it is. I want to go with Jon Moxley, but for the storyline, it makes way more sense for Kenny Omega to win. I can't see Kenny Omega losing the title right now, but I'm gonna go with Jon Moxley. Just
really,
yeah, it's a long shot, but I kind of want the whole Kenny Omega collector of titles thing to drag on a little longer before he starts getting a lot of titles, and I want Jon Moxley to rub it in his face that he has the AEW championship and also another title from New Japan.
That would be fun. I think though Jon Moxley is going to be leaving AEW for a few months and focusing on New Japan, because he has that IWGP US championship. We're not going to go a whole other 6 months, a year without him defending it, without it being important. He has to get over to Japan to be able to defend that belt. I know New Japan Strong has been doing some US stuff, but I think Jon Moxley, with how the pandemic is and how hard it is to travel right now, I think he may go to Japan for at least 2 or 3 months, defend that title, make some feuds there, and then make a return to AEW.
He has a baby coming along as well. So,
that as well. Yeah, that as well.
So he may go to Japan maybe for 6 weeks and then films all his matches in that time and then goes back with Renee, and yeah, they play happy families. I think it's good on them, to be fair.
Yeah, All right, well then there you go. There is your AEW Revolution predictions. And with that, we will wrap things up. Thanks to everyone who continues to listen to the podcast. If you want to hear your voice in here, simply send me a PM on any of my social media. Thank you, Arty, for joining me on predictions.
Not a problem at all. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And thank you, James, for putting in your predictions as well.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping me on each week.
For sure. Yeah, well, you're my squatter. I can't get rid of you.
I'm more than a squatter now.
You have rights.
I have rights.
You bring in some furniture, decorate the place up.
I've moved out my corner.
And as always, you can find our socials at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, Lotus M Productions on Instagram for the independent music side of things, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. With that, this has been LMP Wrestling, and we are signing off.